Hamas isn't interested in giving up any hostages. And really, ultimately, I said this in a piece yesterday. If all these people who get out there and they claim to care so much about life, all you have to do is demand that Hamas, with the same force that you're demanding Israel de-escalate, because it's like Israel escalated it. Good heavens! I mean, that's the thing that aggravates me about this whole discussion is that you have people who refuse to acknowledge the proper order of events. They absolutely refuse to do it. Hamas apologists do not get to rewrite the chronology of all of this and the chronological order of events and exclude from the chronological order of events the actions of the terrorists that started it all so that they can portray Israel's response as being the aggressive, unprovoked act. They also don't have the standing for their performative concern theater when they wail and weep over loss of life while Hamas shelters in hospitals. I mean, I just told you the big hospital that was in Gaza City, that turned out to be Hamas that did that because so many of their rockets misfire. Like up to 40% of it. It's kind of wild. No, these people, they all ruin their credibility. By ignoring Hamas's atrocities while demanding that Israel stop defending its citizens. You don't get to call for de-escalation while Hamas still has hostages. You don't get to call for de-escalation right at the same time that Hamas is releasing video of hostages. You don't get to call for de-escalation when more and more video is released showing these terrorists running through this kibbutz and that kibbutz and shooting up anybody who poked their head out the doors to see what the commotion was all about. You don't get to call for de-escalation with that. There was not a war before Hamas launched rockets. There was not a war before they launched rifle-wielding, hang-gliding terrorists into Israel. There was not a war before Hamas busted into one kibbutz after the other and began executing families while live streaming it all. There was not a war until Hamas terrorists took the phones of people that they had captured and then uploaded, or if they didn't live stream, their execution of that loved one to their Facebook, to their TikTok, to their Instagram, or even Twitter. Ruling parties of these disputed territories have multiple times been offered a peaceful solution. And at every turn, they have rejected it. At every ceasefire, their ceasefire agreement has always been broken by Hamas. So there wasn't a war before Hamas started this. And a response to someone else's provocation is not the aggressive action. I saw, did you guys see the story? I had this yesterday. I sent this out to you last night. There was no condemnation of Hamas and their theft of UN aid that they used to support their terror campaign. Did you all see this? United Nations, they ended up trying to scrub their timeline, but it was too late and it was confirmed. They had people with trucks that said that they were from the Ministry of Health of authorities in Gaza. They stole fuel and medical equipment from the UN compound in Gaza City. They had to the UN staff had to evacuate headquarters in Gaza City, and they had Hamas come in and they stole everything. Everything, even some of the other aid stuff. They stole aid from the UN, and the UN is trying to cover it up. Ask me again why I think the UN is a worthless entity. They had the United Nations Relief and Works Agency for Gazan refugees in Gaza, and it was robbed. They stole all their fuel, everything, and medical equipment. By the way, they found some of the medical equipment at some of the terror attack sites where they had Hamas terrorists go in and blow people up. If a Hamas terrorist was shot, they opened up their little medikit that literally said UN all over it. I mean, there's photos of it all over the damn internet. Oh, spare me the AI stuff. I see these morons that are recent converts to constitutionalism going out there saying that everything is AI. Actually, they only say one thing is AI, and then everything else they just very quietly, conveniently ignore. No, Hamas puts its own people in danger. It steals everything. They literally put out a video. Hamas put out a video themselves. Did you know they have a channel? I didn't know that. They put out a video talking about how the EU funded all their water pipelines. And they were bragging about how they turned them into rockets and bombs. That is literally a video that Hamas recorded, the ruling authority of Gaza, that they recorded and they put out, where they're bragging about how they dig up all the area's water pipes to produce rockets. They recorded it, they produced it, and they put it out. Now, here's the crazy thing. This was put out several years ago, but it's only just now coming out. For all the people who are like, that's not true. Oh, it is. Why do you think the EU was having crisis meetings about, should we consider funding the terrorists that rule this area? I don't know. That's a tough one for us. They had footage in 2021 of them excavating pipes from the desert, and they were literally showing people how they made them into homemade rockets. It was Hamas's military wing, the Al-Qassam Brigades. I'm not playing the terrorist stuff, and I'm not going to show it. That's why I didn't send it. But they used them to make rockets. Remember how I told you yesterday? There were several of you who said I was shilling propaganda. Oh, is this propaganda? The video that's publicly available on this thing that rhymes with schminternet? I mean, we've known that they've done this for a long time because they've done it with their damn sewage pipes a decade ago. Oh my gosh. They had Amnesty International reports that came out. Why is the sewage going into the Mediterranean? Because Hamas dug up the sewage pipes. Why does no one have water? Because Hamas dug up the damn water pipes. Ask something else stupid. Good grief. Do you know how many times the EU tried to deliver fresh water to these two territories? They went in with UNICEF, UN, between 2015 and 2022. They had all these different attempts to deliver fresh water. They transported desalinated seawater from one plant to the settlements of Khan Yunis and Rafah, that's southern Gaza, right by the border in Egypt, where 95% of the water was estimated to be unfit for human consumption. They had another thing that was going to deliver about 3 miles of pipelines as a part of a sewage treatment plant in Tubas, Taysir, and Aqaba, south of Yenin, which is a known Hamas hotspot. And then they had another 16 miles of water pipelines that they had delivered. They increased all their pipeline aid, all of it. And they kept saying, no funding goes to Hamas. None of it goes to Hamas. And then, wow, look at all the rockets that Hamas is making with this newly acquired pipeline material. Wow, such shock. No one saw that coming. It was amazing. And you realize that they started digging into this, and it was the Telegraph actually began it, because they couldn't identify whenever they would have these mass bombardments of rockets in different parts of Israel. They were like, where the hell is this coming from? Like they're broke. How do they have all this? Where the hell is this coming from? They started trying to verify the exact weaponry that Hamas was sending over. And that's when they started looking at it like, what the hell? These are literal buildings. These are pipes. Well, who sent them pipes? I'll be damned, it's the EU. That's how they figured that out. Oh, but it's Israel's fault. Oh, it's all Israel's fault. Israel that unilaterally pulled out of the area in 2005, gave it over to them to entirely run by themselves. Don't blame Israel for all this nonsense. Hell, y'all ruled the damn area yourselves. It was Gaza. Y'all elected these damn terrorists in 2006. There was a Pew poll that showed that just a couple of years ago, they were enjoying favorability. Hamas. They have a martyrs fund where they dole out money like fat cats at a strip club if your dumbass terrorist kid goes out there and blows himself up. Golly. It's a wonder more atheists don't come from that that religion than anything else, honestly. That's how that happened. So all the people who are like, oh, from the river to the sea, here's our genocide chant. Chanting that and going along with it, there's only two that says one of two things about you, maybe both. You're a terrorist supporter, an apologist for terrorism, or you're a moron university brat who's still on mom and dad's collective teat, and you offer nothing to this country except you're a drag on on any kind of public conversation. Because you're dumb. That's it. Probably both.